Yes. Find the best way to say this shit. Alright. Get some of these. Get some of this stuff. Get some of this stuff together. So we can have us a build tonight or today. This is gonna be refreshing, invigorating, educative. And I'm gonna attempt as best as I can to not be judgmental. Let me put the disclaimer up now. Whew. Let me put the disclaimer up now. You feel me? Thou shalt not be judgmental. As best as I can, I will attempt not to. Let me just put this up. For advertising purposes, of course, you know, we got an upcoming lecture, and we'll be doing a lot of these bills leading up to it. Tonight, we're going to be on Melanin Monday, giving y'all a clinic. You know, it's just way too much information to sit on. You know what I'm saying? So, by piece and piece, we're going to build our case brick by brick. You feel me? Leading up to the monumental presentation that we got prepared. You feel me? But in the meantime, in between time, stuff going on. Woo! And, you know, we need to talk about it. Peace. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know what Brown World Order is, but shout out to you. Let me give y'all this, let me run this commercial. I just put this up. We could just run this commercial and talk about what we're going to talk about. Yo, what's cracking? It's the 1 Minute Assassin. You heard what happened in Cali on the Lunar New Year? Look here. Why the sheriff was named Luna too? Reminds me of that Lunar UST collapse that happened last May during the Scorpio blood moon lunar eclipse. You know, the same one that took down the Blood Young Thug? By the way, yeah, so what's this connection between lunar and terror? And what message this Saturday night's incident brings? It was the last night of the Bengals' New Year, and the next day, the Bengals finished off the Bills. And mind you, last year on the 44th day, the Bengals lost the Super Bowl to the LA Rams in LA. So what potential effect does this have for the upcoming Super Bowl? How deep does this rabbit hole go in this year of the rabbit? Tune in tonight to Melanin Monday as we warm up for our upcoming lecture, When in Rome 3, where we bring all of these points home and give you that food for thought to nourish your domes. Peace.
You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious.
Yo, what's cracking? It's the 1 Minute Assassin. You heard what happened in Cali on the Lunar New Year? Look here. Why the sheriff was named Luna too? Reminds me of that Lunar UST collapse that happened last May during the Scorpio blood moon lunar eclipse. You know, the same one that took down the Blood Young Thug? By the way, yeah, so what's this connection between lunar and terror? And what message this Saturday night's incident brings? It was the last night of the Bengals' New Year, and the next day, the Bengals finished off the Bills. And mind you, last year on the 44th day, the Bengals lost the Super Bowl to the LA Rams in LA. So what potential effect does this have for the upcoming Super Bowl? How deep does this rabbit hole go in this year of the rabbit? Can y'all hear me? Let me know if this audio is coming through, so we can jump into this. Y'all hear me? Can you hear me? So,
yesterday I did my 37th epilogue, Pope Pablo Presents, right? Yeah, let me know. Is the audio? Audio is good. And yesterday's presentation was called Clear as Crystal, right? Clear as Crystal. Now, I'm not a fan of this young lady, meaning that I don't listen to her music. I don't know too much about her narrative. But I do know that she is a pop icon. She's a cultural icon, and she has her controversies. But I found it very suspicious that they had this image of Doja Cat floating around with 30,000 crystals on her, just to show you some synchronicity for that matter. Because if we're going to speak about making these observations about the moon and the new moon and the lunar new moon and the lunar new year and all of these things, right? We can't avoid speaking about the feminine principle because they go hand in hand. I'm asking, what's the connection between Terra and Luna? Terra is Earth, all right? And Luna is the moon, and both of them are feminine principles in some disciplines. Some disciplines will tell you the Earth is masculine. Some disciplines will tell you the moon is masculine. Hence the fact in Kemet, there were moon gods, not moon goddesses. There were solar goddesses and moon gods. Osar is a moon god. Hence the fact he is the Jolly Green Giant because he presides over vegetation. Vegetation is not a solar aspect. It's a lunar aspect. He goes into the underworld at night on a solar disk, meaning that he symbolizes when the sun sets and it goes into the underworld, he traverses through the underworld on a solar disk. This particular understanding, if you will, let's call it a mythology, it predates Christianity by several thousand years. So that was the Kemetic pre-dynastic understanding of the underworld. Asar is a moon god. Khonsu is a moon god, right? Aset is a sun goddess. You feel me? She ain't got nothing to do with the sun, with the quote-unquote moon. But yesterday we were dealing with the new moon, right? And the new moon was the closest to the planet than it's been in 1,000 years, right? So it was very strong. There was a very strong emphasis on it. And then there was a grand ritual that went along with it, with the mass murder that took place at a lunar event somewhere called a Star Ballroom, right? During the Chinese lunar festivities. If anybody knows Asians, they are a lunar-based people, not a solar-based one, okay? They represent, if there ever was a moon people, it's them. Hence the fact that America is scrambling with them right now because they're going to the moon and they're setting up shop and they're staking their claim on the moon, right? And they're not asking nobody's permission. I wonder why. So it would be remiss of us not to see the signs written on the wall to say, you know, I stay in my lane when it's called for, but when things is like speaking to us directly in terms of interpretation and things are beckoning to be spoken of, we can't speak about the lunar new year or the lunar aspects and not look at the feminine principle on this planet and what's going on. Now, again, I'm going to attempt as best as I can to remove myself from judgment, right? And I'm just going to be an observer and an interpreter of signs and symbols rather than jumping into any sort of quote-unquote judgment. Feel me? So, let's run a commercial real quick just to get y'all in tune because people saying they late. So let me just give you a premise.
Yo, what's cracking? It's the One-Minute Assassin. You heard what happened in Cali on the Lunar New Year? Look here. Why the sheriff was named Luna too? Reminds me of that lunar UST collapse that happened last May during the Scorpio blood moon lunar eclipse. You know, the same one that took down the Blood Young Thug? By the way, yeah, so what's this connection between Lunar and Terra? And what message does Saturday night's incident brings? It was the last night of the Bengals' New Year, and the next day the Bengals finished off the Bills. And mind you, last year on the 44th day, the Bengals lost the Super Bowl to the LA Rams in LA. So what potential effect does this have for the upcoming Super Bowl? How deep does this rabbit hole go in this year of the rabbit? Tune in tonight to Melanin Monday as we warm up for our upcoming lecture, When in Rome 3, where we bring all of these points home and give you that food for thought to nourish your domes. Peace.
You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious.
Okay. You don't find that suspicious, right? It's a lot going on with lunar energy. And I'm going to explain how, incidents such as the one that we just saw, they're kind of like setting the groundwork. When you mix blood and the moon together, that's kind of exasperating this lunar lens, this casting of a shadow. I know what happened last year during the beginning of the Bengal, quote unquote, Chinese New Year, and what that precipitated with that Super Bowl that took place in LA, all of that 44 energy. This is the problem with toxins represent, okay? Because it's not true. So once again, even though we understand in this paradigm that the moon is a feminine aspect, we also understand in places like pre-dynastic Kemet and other ancient civilizations, there also was a masculine aspect to the moon. You feel me? Hence the fact that Asar is a moon god, right? He is the moon god of moon gods, right? He's the god of the perfect black. So last night was a new moon dealing with the perfect blackness, right? That's the moon that they more so would attribute to Lilith energy, more so to something such as Eve, which is the that's like the moon when you can see it, the crescent moon and shit like that. What they consider to be the sanctified, the sanctity aspects, right? The cleaner aspects. And I think that might even have something to go along with women and their moons, their cycles and things. But I could be reaching. Anyway, this news broke at the same time about Aretha Franklin, right? And the outrage that is now erupting because, as I once predicted a long time ago, the trans community is now upset with her song, okay, about what makes a quote-unquote real woman now. Women may be worried about the wrong thing on this planet, and they have been sucked into the wrong conversations, and they've had their back turned for too long, and they don't understand that their position is being usurped. If you can change the definition by law of something, then you can ultimately change that thing. The way that everything in this world got usurped and subjugated and taken over, right, is by changing the definition of it, right? At first, they castigate things in public. They demonize them. They change their definition, then they eliminate them, okay? This particular system in this world has been attempting to destroy and supplant the woman from day one. It is the oldest war taking place all the way back before pre-dynastic Kemet. This war has been taking place. I would beg to differ that this war came from quote unquote heaven itself, right? Because God ain't even have a wife, nor does he have a mama. Okay. So you got to figure that shit out for yourself, man. That's a whole nother conversation within of itself, That's a whole nother conversation within of itself. So the whole conversation about what a natural woman is a conversation that has been attacked because, once again, they're terraforming society for transhumanism via transgenderism. And you could get in your feelings about that. Again, I'm not being judgmental. I'm being observational, right? I'm being prophetic, and I'm showing you what time it is. Don't take my word for it. You can sit back and do nothing about it, like women have been focusing on the wrong shit, running behind the city girls and information and energy like that, while they're effectively being usurped. They already changed the definition of a woman in the Oxford Dictionary, right? Now they're changing the laws around what a woman could be. And now they have the audacity to sit up here and say, look, we don't like that song, right? You got to change that. You're offending us. So now we got to worry about how everybody's mama's offended. You know what I'm saying? But men who have turned into women are saying that they're offended by anthems of empowerment, because this is what the women always tell you. You can't, don't knock our hustle. That's empowerment, right? We have every right to call ourselves the bitches that we are, instead of you calling us bitches. You know, we need to say it in our own language. That's empowerment for us. We want to sell our own pussy and get paid for that. That's empowerment, right? And you can't say nothing, nigga. Take a seat, right? You've been cashing on this cat for too long. I got every right to cash in on my own cat. That's empowerment. So, again, without me being facetious and potty mouthed and things of that nature, first and foremost, the queen mother is a bitch, because Osset is the queen bitch. She is Sophist. She's Sirius, which is called the dog star. And the dog star is a woman. So the definition of a female dog is a bitch. And that is what Canis Major is. It's not even Canis Minor. It's Canis Major. Right? The top dog bitch. So, once again, that's for you. You got to figure that shit out and factor it yourself. Because y'all want to be Osset and ISIS and shit like that. That's the queen mother bitch. All right? So, you know, if the queen mother's a bitch, then what does her litter look like? Like, what chances do they have on this planet? What, you gonna be, a kitten? Yeah. You gonna be an Eartha? You gonna be a kitten? You know? Are you gonna be that? You gonna be what? They say you better be the baddest bitch. So, let's transition this conversation and just make an observation of some things that's taking place in our society and our social setting. Again, just for observational purposes, not out of judgment, because I don't, who can judge, right? Who can judge? I don't have no right to judge. It's like I said, sermon, clear as crystals, and she had on 30,000 crystals yesterday. That was real cute. I dig that. That was real cute. You know what I'm saying? And this hit the socials yesterday too, and it had people in an uproar. And it's like, you can't have it both ways. You gotta have it either. No, it's quantum. You can do what you want. I can't even explain that to you, but I just find it funny that people is in the uproar over Erica and her daughter showing they fatties on social, and they saying, oh, this is stock training. First of all, is it natural? Is it a BBL? Because then there was another post going around social media where they was castigating Mary J. Blige for showing her bottom, right? And then they was making fun of it because they were saying she had a saggy bottom, but then some people were saying she had a mini BBL, and I'm like, well, goddamn, a woman just can't be a woman anymore, not even by definition, right? But nothing is saying, no one seems to be saying anything about men who are transitioning. You feel me? And as if that observation of someone who thinks that they've been born into somebody else's body, right? Which within and of itself is identified as a mental illness. If you are if you're trapped in somebody else's body, that's schizophrenia if you're a man. But now if you are a man who thinks you're a woman, then you can alter your appearances just to become a woman, to be unsatisfied with that and want to go back to a man. Isn't that schizing? That's not schizing? That's not schizing? So I needed some help with this because again, I'm not a woman. I don't want to be a woman. I'm not a woman trapped in a man's body. I'm not going through any of those things. So in order to better understand this, I called my mama on some stuff. I have friends, but my mama's not part of this generation. And there's definitely a generational divide. So my wife, she's younger. She's part of a generation that's in the middle. It's younger than my generation, but not necessarily the youngest generation, right? You feel me? I'm not out here counseling it, But she's enough astute to the programming and conditioning of her generation, the generation under her, and then she has an older spirit, you know what I'm saying, and she grew up around older people, and then I be giving her some insight and some bars because I still got my foot in the 70s. I was born in the 70s, so I remember when it was a different time and people did things different, and maybe a lot of this shit was just being hidden under the surface and it didn't come to the forefront. But she grew up during the Rihanna era, right? So we want to talk about it. Because I remember the clear distinctions. I used to work in the industry, y'all. So I remember when Rihanna used to come to the office and she was a timid young lady. You know what I'm saying? And this was before Umbrella. She hadn't got bust open yet. You dig what I'm saying? She was still on the first album with the big forehead. And the conversation about her in the industry was she was stiff. They wasn't getting what they thought a quote-unquote Caribbean woman promised in terms of not only the movement, but the fluidness, right? She was very stiff in her character. She couldn't dance. You know what I'm saying? She made good music, but she wasn't marketable necessarily. You feel me? And then I was at a production company at that time called Box Fresh. Shout out to Majesty and the good people that was at Box Fresh. And Box Fresh was a production company, and they were doing her videos, right? And I think that this is where the dude, it's a white boy that did all of the esoteric type videos. And I used to try to get a conversation going with this dude just to get in his mind. Dave Myers, maybe it was Dave Myers, maybe it was another one of the white boys, but it was one of the ones that put all of the esoteric stuff in it that had them talking about Illuminati and hip hop, right? It was that director. You feel me? So I never had a conversation with him, but I knew where the throughways, I knew where I seen where the introduction took place behind the scenes. I was around for that. And she was never the same after that. You know what I'm saying? It was like a complete 180. Right? They got a hold of her. They did a few videos, and she was just never the same person no more. And then you started hearing the rumors in the industry. No, not Johnny Nunes. Nigga, Johnny Nunes is a photographer. He's not a director, and he's not a white boy. Shout out to Johnny Nunes. I want to talk to Johnny Nunes too, though. He's been making his rounds as of lately. I'm like, come on, Johnny. I'll save that for Johnny. They ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Shout out to Johnny. Johnny's a good guy. Johnny's just been in it for too long, man. Johnny, come on, Johnny. Johnny, you know where the bodies is at, Johnny. Stop it. Now let me stop. So she started changing, right? Like almost overnight. She started moving a lot more looser, right? They was rumoring that she got her screws knocked loose and shit like that. And she was a pass around. This is even before Chris Brown. This is before that, right? This when she was for the industry, and then they started coming out with shit like this, right? The second album was Good Girl Gone Bad.
Yeah.
Right, because it was Disturbia.
Umbrella and shit.
Murder. What was it?
That was after that.
How far after that? The Murder.
I think that was probably the next album.
The next album. You sure?
I know Good Good Girl Gone Bad when she had Umbrella. Maybe Disturbia was on that too, because that's what, like 08, 07, 08.
Yeah, that's when I was around, right?
And that's
07,
when
08. That's exactly around the time that I was in the industry with Cinematic Music Group and Epic Records, and I was moving around my business partner Majesty, and he was working with the production company Box Fresh and things of that nature, and all of that exposure, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, Man Love, all of them dudes,
Yeah,
right?
Loud. It was Good Girl Gone Bad, and then Loud was after that. That's with the red hair.
Yeah, this was before. Yeah, this was during the Good Girl Gone Bad era. She transformed. You know what I'm saying? She took a whole generation with her, and you know I want to talk about it again. I'm not being judgmental. I'm a Scorpio, right? I was born into darkness. I've walked in darkness. I've lived in darkness. I understand it. I appreciate it because I know it for what it is. I came from darkness. You know what I'm saying? I come from the underworld, from the streets. My name is on the fucking Hall of Fame in those worlds. So I can't even point a finger and act crazy. But there's some things that we still did just not fuck with. And we understood you don't go past that this line, and you don't go through that door. You know, I seen a lot of people get devoured in the industry, and now everybody's playing stupid as if these certain things don't happen. I've been to all of them parties, right? I seen all kind of shit. Now, the fact that we was in the industry working with Mike Tyson, we was insulated from a lot of things. We was insulated from a whole lot of things. Shout out to Mike. Thank you, Jackie. You know what I'm saying? For being like guardians, and they just had a force field on them because they were so real, and you can never bring any of that shit around them because you could never entice them to bend to that will, because once again, these were people that came from the street, who were real street people, and this is before like the full merger of the street and the industry started. There still was a line. You know what I'm saying? Like, on the side of the club, rappers was on that side, Haitian Jack and them was on that side. There wasn't a mix and a merger, right? Until like Tupac did some stupid shit that he did. Nobody else was making those type of mistakes in the game. You feel me? So I got to see things from a peripheral, even to be up close, even to be privy to conversations, right? But never necessarily in the mix, right? Always close enough to be like, yo, let's go. And then we out of there. You feel me? Always like, don't go around that corner at them parties. Okay, cool. Because then I'm still on my reporter shit. So I'm still like Peter Parker snooping around, trying to figure certain things out. And they like, nah, son. Yeah, don't go over there. That's not for you. You know? So it's certain things, it's just like, you could tell them that. You can't tell it to me, nigga. I was there. You feel me? I was fucking there, right? I seen when she changed. You know what I mean? And I seen what sort of energy or egregor or entity got put inside of her. Because now I seen how she started showing up with the BDSM, with the S&M, you know what I'm saying? With the shit that wasn't her overnight. And you kind of have an idea somewhat of where that shit come from. Once again, but if you don't go that far past the door, you don't see the face of it. You just see remnants of it. And then you see the effects of it on people when they come out of that door. And that kind of like is what happened to her. And she got passed to Chris Brown, you know, ultimately. And then, you know, to the credit of her handlers, though, they still took care of her, and they still take care of her to this day. You feel me? You gotta at least give them credit for that. Them niggas will walk you through, and they'll hold your hand and not let go. I don't know what happened to Aaliyah, though. That's a whole nother conversation. But, you know, I want to engage with my lady on this conversation because I only know it from a perspective of looking from the outside in and just seeing the transformation, but I ain't I didn't listen to her music per se, you know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't my generation. I didn't party and dance to this stuff necessarily. I just seen it from behind the scenes. So the people who were being affected by it and conditioned by it and motivated and moved by it and marketed to, it would more so be like my girlfriend and her generation that were growing up, and this was the stuff that they were being fed. So how did that affect you initially, you know what I'm saying, when you were seeing, especially as a woman with Caribbean roots, when you seen Rihanna come into the game and she was on her shit, that you was like, well, let me not say what it was, because that's for you to say.
What?
I asked you, I said, how did it affect you? Like, what was your observation of it? What did you notice as a young lady who was being conditioned into, you know, her sexuality and growing into the primeness of your age?
I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't say that Rihanna affected me. I was already like, how do I explain it? Like, okay, like
Savage?
I say, what?
Ratchet?
I was a little ratchet. I was very much ratchet.
Okay, yeah.
I was very much ratchet. I was very much, like
Okay,
a
we
bird.
talking.
Like, I really was. But for me personally, I had a certain rebellious spirit because I didn't, like I said before, when it came to certain girls, how we are raised, you're told to respect yourself and not do this and not do that. Not for yourself, but so that people won't judge you. And so that men will respect you. And it wasn't about getting to know yourself. It wasn't about doing anything for yourself. It was about how other people would perceive you. And that never sat well with me individually. So I always just wanted to do my own thing. And, just to say, like, I could do what the fuck I want to do. And it doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me a certain type of person. It's just what I want to do.
Right.
And
so she appealed to that rebellious nature initially because she obviously broke a mold. Did you see that when it happened, is what I'm saying? Was you able to identify that? Like,
I would definitely say that Rihanna's image after the Ponder Replay thing, because that was like a one-hit wonder. Ponder Replay, nobody thought Rihanna was going to be anything. We thought Tierra Marie was going to be that bitch.
Right.
But once she came out with the umbrella and the haircut, all the dark shit,
it wasn't getting no traction on her when she was bright and light. I'm trying to tell you, I was there for the fucking conversations.
And because I think the whole conversation and the whole aspect is not specifically about Rihanna. I think we was talking about Young Miami and why a lot of this stuff is, why has it gotten so far? And a lot of what I was saying was, in my generation, we were exposed to a lot of dark shit, after the early 2000s, 50 Cent came in, took over the Ja Rule shit, and we were still lit with that in the club and popping bottle shit, but we were young, like we couldn't go to the club. So there were other things while our parents and all the older generations and our cousins and shit was outside. We was inside being introduced to a whole bunch of other shit, via entertainment. Whether it be, like I always say, Degrassi. Degrassi helped to usher in a lot of that shit because our parents didn't know shit about Degrassi. And it was a lot of shit going on in that show that was very much still taboo. That wasn't something that children should be engaging in, such as sex and STDs and, pregnancies and just all type of, that they introduced the homosexuality. It was a whole bunch of things that our parents, would normally shield us from, but they didn't even know that shit exists. So we were into that. We started getting into the emo shit for the trend. Like, it was a trend to be depressed, and that's some real shit. Like, we were listening to Green Day. We were listening to the whole Eminem, like, that dark shit, and it gave you like a rebellious spirit because a lot of us couldn't be gangsters. A lot of us didn't have street cred, so you found a new way to be different and you found a new way to be quote unquote cool through fucking depression.
Right.
And we didn't even really know what that shit was. We was just seeing it and it got attention.
You was cosplaying.
Yeah, you was able to get attention. You was able to be recognized for something else that you could do other than necessarily what was shown on TV with the whole gangster and pimp shit. And so when, by the time Rihanna got into the game and the whole good girl going bad and she started getting darker and darker, it was kind of giving us like that rebellious spirit again to say, you know what, I'm not that kind of girl in the video and you can't tell me what to do. Again, it's a rebellious control
Right,
me.
youthful rebellion.
That no one can control me type of thing. I do what the fuck I want to do. And especially for being a girl of Caribbean descent, if anybody that got Caribbean roots, you know, they thing is all about perception. You cannot bring shame to your family. You can't do certain shit because it's not just going to make you look bad. It's going to make everybody else look bad. Like my mom used to say, listen, what you do, you an extension of me. So what you do is not just making you look bad, you making me look bad. And that shit weighed on my shoulders. Like, damn, I can't live my fucking life because I'm gonna make you look bad. I just like, what if I want? I gotta make my mistakes. I gotta do this shit I want to do, and I can't do it because now you gonna look fucked up.
Me, I couldn't sell crack because my daddy was like, it's gonna make us look crazy and he gonna kill me. And my grandfather too. So I was like, shit, I'm out here living for my parents. I can't even live with my homies.
Exactly.
You know, live out this motherfucking homie fantasy that we out here in the streets manifesting.
And like with me, I was a little bit, I was a little different. I was a little extra. I would get all these piercings. I was like a fucking pincushion. And I remember when I got my tongue pierced, and it was a wrap because like automatically it's like, you know what people gonna think when you get your tongue pierced, and it's like I don't give a fuck. I'm still the same me with or without my tongue.
Somebody posed a good. They said the real question is why men leave the wife at home for the hot gal, then get mad at the wife for wanting to go do hot gal shit instead.
And that's the conversation we had the other day when I was telling you about loving hip hop. And I actually saw this post, I think yesterday.
And this kind of segues and walks into the premise and the illusion of what they have. When I say the feminine principle, I don't mean this is not a blanket statement. So we're not meaning all women, but there's a large swath, the majority, especially here online, that move and gravitate towards city girl, hot girl shit. Whereas the women that are putting that message out do not live up to the premise, just like the young men are seeing that the men that they look towards and look at that are on a, thugger gangster shit, you know what I'm saying? They don't really, everybody's cosplaying. Everybody needs a hug, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is wearing a particular veneer out in society to feel protected. And they've just picked up on things that are part of their cultural instincts. And again, I can't speak generally. Some people, this is what they was made for.
Like
you know what I'm saying?
Said, and I see this online all the time in reference to this exact topic. Somebody says shame is good. And while I completely understand that, I understand what you mean by shame is good, and sometimes it's necessary. But the problem with shame and where we have gotten today is that the shame was only utilized for someone else's benefit. Like when we speak of the men, it was only okay to shame women for being hoes as long as you were the pimp. As long as you were able to profit and benefit, as long as you were able to have your fantasy fulfilled, then it was okay to shame because it's like, all right, you the good girl that's not going to give it up easy. You have requirements. You got standards. You're going to shame her because you want to get in her panties. Mm-hmm. And you're going to shame her out of it.
That's called finesse.
It's exactly. Right. And it's been done so much that the reactive part of it is what you fucking see today. These city girls, these girls that talk all of this shit because it hurts. Now men are starting to understand what it feels like to be on the other end of that shame. Because it went beyond shaming us to keep us in a certain mentality or whatever. You literally made us feel bad about just being who we fucking were. And shit that we couldn't control. The way our bodies were shaped. The way our faces were shaped. The way our hair grew out our head. Just so you could have this feeling of power or authority or the fact that your word meant something. It has turned into this thing where women are just saying shit just to let you know you can't make them feel bad, and they don't even believe or act on the shit that they're saying. Like this whole city girl movement. When I first heard them, I was still in Miami, and I couldn't even listen to them. One young Miami sounded deaf to me. She sounded like somebody that couldn't hear her own self speak. Second of all, the lyrics were just blowing my mind because I'm like, y'all say this shit, but I don't know none of y'all bitches that's really living like this. Y'all all still got men. Y'all all still listening to that man at home. Y'all not doing none of that shit unless you literally have a pimp, because in Miami, that's the culture. Mm-hmm. Most of the girls have pimps and they pimping them out on the strip. and you have to go turn tricks. That's literally your job. It's a serious thing. So for me, I was just like, yeah, I can't get with this shit because I know that, you know, one, I know it's a lie. Two, I know that it's coming from a hurt place. You know, just like when we watch these reality shows and we seeing people be belligerent with one another because we want to convince the other person that, no, you can't hurt me, even though you clearly hurt.
Facts.
You feel me? So, yeah, shame is good, but when it has, you know, when you're being honest and truthful and intentional about your reasons for shame, but not just so you can fulfill your own fantasy, because that's what we have here. Now you can't shame a girl for nothing. You call a girl a hoe, she be like, yup, and I'm the best one. So what?
Facts. You call her fat and
you can't.
she
So
like, what?
Your man still fuck me.
She's like, you a munch? Yeah, who munches?
No, you fat. No, I'm a whole snack, baby.
Yeah.
I'm a meal.
Yeah, 8-course meal. I'm an 8-course meal with some leftovers.
Cause like you can't even when you know.
So are those defense mechanisms you saying
Absolutely.
for trauma that the women have
I absolutely
figured out?
believe
Once
so.
again, like I said, how to create an external shell of veneer in order to survive out here. Because
what else you gonna do? How
'cause
much you
how
gonna
else
want to?
yeah.
How much you gonna want to get hurt?
Because niggas is obviously hurt, and the exasperation of the hurt definitely comes post 2012. When I watched the ritualistic killing of melanated men and men's failure to respond, I knew that the abuse was going to go out of this world. It was either going to go two ways. People were going to get hyper masculine and start beating up on, you know, the proximity factor, women, people in their community. So I knew murders was going to go sky high. And then I knew that the, you know, men kind of like embracing their fluid femininity was going to happen more. Because they didn't want to appear to be, you know, dangerous, right? They're succumbing to the pressures. If your brain is only formulated for solutions, and a man can only identify himself as a man if he's able to protect, provide, and shit like that. So the fact that, quote unquote, black men have not come up with an answer to police brutality, like there's the feds next, there's the military next, there's a secret society. So if you can't deal with the lowest hanging denominator of the fruit, the low-hanging fruit of the totem of what's considered white supremacy, subconsciously, whether they want to admit it or not, their masculinity is totally being fucked with because they don't see themselves as men. How can you if you can't exert yourself as a man, right? Hence the fact I said, can't nobody tell you that they love you nowadays because they can't protect you. So what is a man looking like telling a woman that he loves her and he can't protect her because he can't protect himself? And we've been here for all of this time and have yet to figure out something that's tangible enough that you can be confident to be like, yeah, I know that, you know what I'm saying, this particular defense mechanism works and I can guarantee you protection and can't nobody fuck with you. Your gun is not bigger than theirs. You feel me? And then you're not even being defeated right now via brawn. It's all mine. So we haven't even figured that out, that the white man is running circles around, quote unquote, his competition through intellect. And he doesn't even have a definition for intelligence. So, like, that's a real motherfucker slap in the face. You feel me? So when those dynamics happen, then yeah, there's going to be a lot more aggressive attitude towards his woman. And the shit that we see right now in society, because it's kind of like out of control, I think it's a direct result to that. You know, the fact that black masculinity has been denuded and niggas is lying to themselves and utilizing everything to prop themselves up to appear that they're equal to white folks' financial literacy or this or that. And it's like, damn, you missing the whole point first and foremost. You know, you're missing the whole fucking point. Like, who do you identify yourself as?
Yeah, you know, what's your value?
What are your values? Yeah, what are you willing to die for? Because that's going to be telling me what you're willing to live for. Stop telling people that you love them. You know, you can't love somebody if you have not dealt with the healing that's necessary to love yourself. So if everybody's traumatized, how the fuck is people talking about they love one another? Where's the love coming from traumatized, hurt people? And y'all can't see this shit. So I'm like, yo, and I mean, self-admitting, myself included, I still know that I need help. I ain't running around here telling motherfuckers that I love them. It's impossible. I don't have the capacity to do that right now. You feel me? And we just here lying to one another, throwing around what's called platitudes. Google it. You need to confront people on their bullshit, especially in this community, with the toxic positivity. Like, bro, come on. I need something. I need a tangible, right? Show me better than you could tell me, because they're going to talk you to death. What's your plans? How are you protecting yourself, your woman, your family, your community? What's your vision? You got a 5-year, 10-year, 15, 20, 30, 100, 500 year? How you a leader with no vision? You know what I'm saying? What does living your woman look like? What is an open heart chakra? What is, like Dr. B say, yeah, if your heart chakra is on 700, then, you know, you can heal people. Nigga, where's that nigga at? And where's that healing taking place then? The person whose heart chakra is so open that he's healing people 750 miles out. This shit is fantasy until it's real. And the fact that it's not real yet, then we should, that should be the goals. And we should only be focused on that. We should be so busy that we don't got no time to be busy in other people's busyness. But at the same time, we got to, you know, I'm making observations and I'm listening and I'm like, damn, you letting a nigga pee on you? You letting a nigga have babies on you? But then you the same person as the spokesperson for other women to tell them to shit on niggas. Somebody's peeing on you, but you the spokesperson for shitting on niggas. So, I mean, if it, you know, the clear cut, because I'm like this. I'm talking to y'all the way that I want to talk to my daughter, my niece, my sisters. You feel me? Like, this is the shit that I'm going to be instilling in them so they don't fall for this fucking game, this finesse. And the finesse is just, it's like, it's on main platforms right now. Mm-hmm. This shit is being broadcast around the world. So niggas is scrambling the minds of people globally. Mm-hmm. And no one in the community is standing up and saying, bullshit! With enough authority to challenge this shit, to hopefully crack it in half, to rebuild it like they be doing with the Japanese. They'll take the shit and rebuild it with gold and silver and make it into something more beautiful. Yo, we can't exist like this. A ChatGPT can see through this shit. You can't even prompt this. You can't prompt this query to a computer and it come back with an affirmative. It's gonna be like, nah, negate. That's some bullshit. It don't even add up. They're gonna be like, let me tell you what ChatGPT say. They got an exact response. Hold on. I'm like, all right, hold on, ChatGPT. City girls getting pee-peed on, right? And the nigga's out running on her having babies. And he got a shitty dick. Hold on. And he got a shitty dick. So what are you sticking around for again? ChatGPT said, I apologize for the confusion. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact answer to that. That's what ChatGPT just said. I apologize for the confusion. Yeah, I'm fucking up the computer. I'm scrambling the wires in the computer by even asking it some crazy shit like this. Right? Maybe I gotta spell her name out. Not City Girl, not Young Miami. Let me spell her real name out so she could pick it up. I'm gonna speak specific.
It's mental illness.
Yeah, talk to them while I get this together, please.
It's mental illness. I mean, I'm going to always say that. It's mental illness because I can't imagine that your anthems is about how good your pussy is, that you got good pussy.
Good pussy.
You got money.
Money.
You fine. But
Bad.
You still got to share dick with 10 other bitches and get pissed on. Like, to me, that's clear mental illness. Like, that don't make no sense to me.
Whoa.
And
that's somebody that really needs a hug.
Honestly,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just so much hugging that needs to take place.
But again,
we wasting time,
like
mean
we say
mugging.
about everything else, it's a defense mechanism. And as I keep saying, everybody is walking around doing whatever they got to do to not get their heart broken. This whole generation is about being numb. It's about being so numb and being so hard that you can't feel. That's ultimately what they're saying.
Right.
I don't give a fuck, because if I don't give a fuck, I can't be hurt.
Right. So, case in point, right? Well, the dude that they call the king of toxic masculinity, one of my preferred artists, Future.
Oh,
right?
That's one more hurt.
Right. So he becomes the prototype. I studied Future.
And these men be fighting me on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, this nigga is hurt, and y'all should know that.
I studied Future, right, as a fellow Scorpio. Through my lecture series, right, I noticed that Jay-Z came with the song called DOA. Now, in Gematria, which is the art of alphanumerics, ascribing a number to a word or letter, right? So, in Gematria, which is the Greek word for geometry, right? Jay-Z number is 372. And that's the word that means Scorpio. Okay? He comes out with an anthem called DOA, which is Death to Auto-Tune, right? And he shuts down T-Pain. The name of the company that makes Auto-Tune is Antares, which is the heart of Scorpio. So he's a Sagittarius. The arrow of Sagittarius points to the heart of Scorpio, which is Antares. So I'm like, look at this synchronicity that the nigga whose name equals Scorpio, who's a Sagittarius, is the one who kills Auto-Tune. But then Auto-Tune gets brought back by another Sagittarius called Future, whose heart was broken. And here's an entire run starting in 2015 with the Monster mixtape after Sierra drops him, another Scorpio. Every single album that he's dropped from 2015 into last year's highest selling album of the year 2022, which is 7 years, this nigga's been making music about one hurt heart. One broke heart for one Scorpio has fueled enough energy. And as a Scorpio, I understand this shit, right? Because your fucking revenge becomes so revengeful, right? That you make art out of it, but you never stop. And you're going to run through 1 million motherfucking people if necessary and trample through them. Okay? Just to remind that one person that they hurt you. This shit you take to the grave. We don't forgive. We consume like fire. Look, she moving her foot.
Because you hurting my toes.
I'm sorry. I was having a moment.
I know.
My bad. Let me stop my car. She living through Future. But his broke heart, his Antares, the heart of Scorpio, right? He fueled it and turned it into art. But his pain became so painful that when I used to listen to his music, I used to feel as if I was on heroin and drugs. Because he became so entrenched in numbing his pain. And don't ever fucking get on this line and be like, oh, but he's lying. He said that he don't take the drugs. He just makes music about it. Nigga, this nigga's high, okay? He said that to a white man in an interview and y'all ran with that stupid shit. This nigga makes opiate music, my nigga. He has half of the fucking world leaning on lean because they all know, nigga, this is the emanation of a nigga who's fully on dope. Yeah, I mean, you don't understand that this nigga, if drugs was a person, it would be Future? Yes, he's born in the third decade of Scorpio, November 20th, the same day as motherfucking Joe Biden. So when you see Joe Biden doing freaky shit with little children, don't sleep on the third decade Scorpio. This nigga's into some dark shit. He's into his Neptunian self. Pluto for real. He told you. So now he got a whole generation nodding out, and the parents think it's just music. And his dope is so entrenching that you can't, it's like you go cold turkey. You can't get off of it. You'll be hooked. The same way that he's hooked on being numb and making music from that place. And the music that he makes from that place is so genuine that it sticks on a cellular level. And that's what a broke heart of the wrong motherfucker will do to you. It will create a motherfucking wave, right? Where now he's exasperating this Jupiter and Pisces energy. Pisces being drugs, pharmaceuticals, pills in particular, right? And Jupiter being the expanse, right? Jupiter's home in Pisces. So the whole world is fucking high. Remember, this nigga said mask on, mask off in 2017. He is the future teller. He is the Pied Piper. Your children do not have a chance fucking around with a nigga like this. If that's not what you into, if you're not raising your babies to be drug addicts, shit, you in trouble. You in trouble. I wanted to pop a pill, goddammit. It's like Snicks making this shit sound too good. I wasn't even depressed. I was just like, I just need to know this nigga's making this shit sound too motherfucking worthy of my attention.
When like Bone Thugs and
come on now,
and Murder Inc.
Yeah, Tupac had you niggas smoking weed.
But even when like Bone Thugs and Ja Rule and them used to rap about doing pills, it never sounded like some shit like that. Yeah. It always sounded like some party shit, some shit that would just make you extra lit to party and fuck a little bit longer. It never hit you like, yeah, this is some shit I gotta take to cope because I'm so depressed.
Look, the nigga will risk his life to have a perk popped past to him in court, Young Thug. That's how bad this shit is. And y'all sitting there thinking that it's a joke. You sitting here thinking that it's just a trend. This shit ain't going nowhere. This shit is deeply entrenched in the fucking society and the community. And around where my mama live, in Zone 6 where these niggas come from, the children is running the pill mills is 12, 13, 14-year-olds. They just getting started. And them is the same little niggas that'll go and drill you on the mission, right? And spray your mama's house up. 12, 13-year-olds, okay? You keep playing. So, this indoctrination factor, right? Again, through Nickelodeon and the kiddie movies and shows and things of that nature, she was explaining to me about this dude right here, Dan Snyder, right? And how he was indoctrinating Schneider.
No, that's not him. That's a nigga with football. Dan Schneider is
okay.
the guy from
Schneider.
Yeah, SH from Nickelodeon.
Schneider. Okay, we'll get him up here. Right? Shout out to the Schneiders.
Nah, for them.
Right? Is this her? Oh no, that's Chapo. That's an El Chapo. So even that, right? Like, let's juxtapose the gangsterism and the thugism that takes place that our children have emulated themselves. Because the interesting juxtapose, damn, I'm running out of time. The interesting juxtapose is that my generation, it was the Italian mobsters. It was dope. It was Doogie from Lucky Luciano and them. That and you know what I'm saying, the shit that was taking place in that particular era, and the fact that we was idolizing Italians. Now the children got pushed out by the Mexicans and the cartels, and they can't keep up. You can't juxtapose this gangsterism next to that gangsterism. The shit falls apart. So they just cosplaying. Everybody's out here cosplaying. But look, that's my live, man. This shit ran. We must have been having some fun because, it just ran up. But we're going to tap back in. All right? Peace.